So a lot of you have been asking me how I got started being an entrepreneur, how I got started in cryptocurrency. So I thought I'd give you a rundown on my life up to this point, how I got started with everything. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, around the high school era, I was very athletic. I was into a lot of sports. I was into mostly basketball and track, and I ended up taking the track route. I don't know what it was about track, but track, you know, it just made me happy. I liked running. I don't know, track just stood out to me, and that's what I wanted to do. But there came that question, the question that all your teachers always ask you, which is, what do you want to do when you get older? Now, a lot of us get this question, and a lot of people, they end up with a quick answer. They know what to say. Oh, I want to be an astronaut. Oh, I want to be a doctor. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. But for me, it was something about the question that kind of intrigued me because I didn't have an answer. I did not know what I wanted to do. And this is, you know, it's not a big dilemma if you're like a freshman, but towards your senior year when you don't know what you want to do, that can be scary because ultimately your parents are trying to push you into a certain field. They want you to be a doctor, they want you to be an electrician or something. But when you don't know what you actually want to strive for, what you want to do, it's kind of hard. I had my mom, and my mom was a nurse slash professor. So I saw what she had to do every day, day in, day out. She had to work very hard to get to where she was. She had a master's degree and all of that. But I saw how hard she had to work. She used to come home drained. And I kind of figured that that's something I didn't really want to do. Not to say that nurses don't make good money and professors don't make good money. Now my dad, who's a plumber, basically I saw how much back-breaking work he had to do. There would be times where he would take me out to go work with him, and I was like, it's not for me. I mean, he had to be going into like holes, fixing people's plumbing. He'd come home like smelling. Not to say plumbers make very good money, up to 80 to 90 an hour, so that's great money. But long term, you don't get that much time with your family. You come home smelling all types of ways, similar to garbage men. Not to say that garbage men don't make money and it's not a good job, but I knew that was not for me. So ultimately, technology is what's taken over, and technology is what intrigues me to learn more and, you know, be involved with technology, because as time goes on, everything has a computer background to it. There's technology involved with it. So I said, all right, since I don't know what I want to do exactly, I'm gonna go take the computer route. So ultimately, that's what I did. I studied computer science. Now in high school, we went to a high school that wasn't similar to all the other high schools. We were a CTE high school. So basically what that means is when you have a CTE high school, you learn regular subjects such as math, science, and English, but along with that, you also do a trade. So what happened was a lot of my friends, they knew they weren't going to go to college, so this high school was good for them because they can pick up a trade. So the trades include carpentry, automotive, there was computers, there was media arts, there was culinary, and I think there was like one more, but I don't remember. So I went in the computer route. A lot of my friends did a HVAC. HVAC was the last one, but that's what we did. We would do our regular subjects, and then we'd have a class, we'd do computers, and we'd learn. And as time went on, I come to realize that, you know, even though I was intrigued by computers, I saw that computer technicians, which is ultimately what I was learning in high school, wasn't something that I can see myself doing long term. But I think what happened was computer technicians were becoming extinct. So a lot of the things that are happening is Best Buy and a lot of these bigger companies were taking over, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna probably have to expand my skills because this is something that won't be around for a long time. So fast forward, graduate high school, yay me, and I end up in college. So I go away to college. One thing I gotta say is when you go away to college, you gotta make sure that your head is in the right place, you know what you're doing, because you can lose yourself, and sometimes people go away. They go away to college for the wrong reasons, and I felt that was one of the reasons why I came back. So I had went away to school, and I ended up coming back, and this was around, I say, 2013, 2014. So this was around my freshman, sophomore year. I decided to come back, and what happened was, it wasn't also the reason that I wasn't really focused upstate at school. It was the fact that my mom had gotten sick. So I decided to ultimately come back to, you know, handle my business, make sure my head was on my shoulders, and I knew I was gonna get into the right direction. I don't know what came over me, but I was like, this job thing isn't for me. Like, I would just sit there in classes and they would talk about, oh, you need this, you gotta have these resume skills, oh, you gotta have these interview skills. And I was like, listen, man, this ain't for me. I don't wanna be dressing up in suits, trying to interview for people and having to put up fake smiles, fake personas to impress people that ultimately hold my soul in their hand, and at any moment, no matter what I do, they can fire me on the spot, no matter how hard I work, how long I've worked. This is not for me, man. It wasn't for me. So that is when I decided that I am going to put my future in my hand and ultimately decide like what business I was gonna start. So that's when it hit me. I needed to start a business. But as a sophomore, what business could you start? Like, what ultimately could you do to, you know, change the world or profit from it as a sophomore with, you know, you don't have that much skills, you don't really know what to do. So that's when I started getting into the stock market. And you know, the stock market is a way that a lot of people can make money, and I saw it as, okay, maybe I should get started with the stock market. So started investing in stock markets and stuff, and ultimately I started making, you know, a couple profits from it. I got in early with a couple of names that we use. We use Chegg, we use PayPal. Ultimately, I don't know about you, but when I invest in stuff, I look at it for the long term. So I see how it can profit in the long term. So I ended up buying Chegg. Chegg was at $3. It ended up growing to about 15 to 20. So I profited from that. I got PayPal. PayPal I got for around 25. Now PayPal's around 75 to 80. So I profited from that. I had a couple good trades, you know, here and there. So I was like, stocks are good for me. Then I started doing more research about stocks, and I come to realize that with stocks, a lot of these stocks, when they hit the IPO, so initial public offering, these aren't the lowest prices that the stocks have been at. So when these high whales, that we call them, these people with a lot of money, when the company first comes out, these whales can buy shares of this stock for pennies on the dollar. So what I came to figure out was these whales were buying stocks for pennies, one penny, 2 pennies. And years later, they're buying like millions of shares of these stocks, mind you. And years later, when it's hitting the IPOs are releasing them for like $25, $30. And as a regular average Joe person, you're thinking, wow, this is a great price. This is very low. But by that time, all the profits have been made. I mean, for you to profit from that, and the stock came out at 25, for you to double your money, the price has to go to $50. And sometimes these companies don't actually grow that much. It might go from 25 to 30, and it might just stay there for a long time. So after a while, I figured out stocks wasn't gonna be for me. So, you know, I'm thinking about this, and as time goes on, you know, I'm thinking about this every single day, and I decided to go and watch this movie. Now, I don't know if any of you seen this movie, but the movie is called Dope. For whatever reason, I don't know the story completely. I'm probably messing up the story, but long story short, what happened was he was trying to sell drugs. Malcolm was trying to sell the guy's drugs for him. And what happened was he wasn't holding the money in regular currency. He was holding the money in Bitcoin. So I was like, what is this Bitcoin? What is this? And I know it might be like a fictional, you know, monetary currency for the movie, but my senses was tingling. I was like, what is this? This seems very interesting. So what ended up happening was, after the movie, I went on Google, searched in Bitcoin, doing research about it. I'm like, oh, Bitcoin, okay, it's real. During that time, it was like a time where a lot of things were going on, so I kind of forgot about it, but it was in the back of my head, and I knew what it was, but I didn't get started with it at that moment. And that was in like 2015, 2014. So that was relatively when Bitcoin was at a affordable rate. I think at that time, Bitcoin was around $200 to $300. So if I would have got started there, could have been a way different story. But right around 2016, 2017-ish, ended up, you know, doing some research. I'm looking, I'm like, this Bitcoin thing is coming up again. You know, I'm seeing it a lot in the news. I'm reading up about it. I'm like, this Bitcoin thing can, you know, change the world. And I'm like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's not only Bitcoin. There's these other things called cryptocurrencies, and they might be something that can change the world. It's something that the world has never seen, because not only was it open to everyone, so everyone could get started. There was no boundaries, there was no tax restrictions. You didn't have to be an accredited investor. You didn't have to have a net worth of $150,000 to get started. No, anybody, it was open season. You can get started as long as it was available to you in the US, and even that isn't a big restriction because you can use VPNs and all that. But this was like, I looked at it, I was like, wow, this can be, you know, a way for a lot of people to build a large piece of wealth. Now, I knew I was gonna be that group of people that was in the middle, that I wasn't gonna be too late where I miss the profit boat, but I wasn't gonna be the person who was like way early. So I was gonna be in the middle. I was gonna be the person where, you know, you could lose a lot, but you could make a lot still. So I went ahead and I bought some. And ultimately, I have been very satisfied with my decision, not only to buy Bitcoin, but to get involved with all these other forms of cryptocurrencies. Now, this kind of opened up my eyes to a lot of other ventures. So while I'm doing cryptocurrency, I had decided that I wanted to do a YouTube channel committed to helping people, not only with cryptocurrency, but to help people become entrepreneurs, help them with life skills, teach them how to be a better person, how to be a better business person, just teaching them about things, how to make money. Because in school, they do not teach you how to make money. They teach you how to be a worker. They teach you how to manage yourself in a job. They teach you how to prepare for a job. They do not teach you how to start your own business. They don't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. They teach you how to work for other people, which I didn't like and I will never like. I want to be a personal business owner. I want to be the person, you know, influences people, is able to change people's lives. Like, as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to change the world. You have the ability to impact people's lives in ways that you can't really do as a job worker. I mean, you can, depending on which job you have. If you're a doctor and stuff, I mean, you are still a worker. You still have a job. Being a doctor is kind of a job. If you work for a hospital, it's not like if you own that whole hospital, you would be able to change the lives of a lot of people because you own that whole hospital. You're not a worker in that hospital. That's the person I want to be. You want to be the person to work in the hospital. I want to be the person to own the hospital. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's my different way of thinking. And that's what I encourage a lot of people. I encourage people to think differently, because in this day and age, a lot of people are just being taught how to work for other people. But if you want to build a legacy for your family, for your kids, you want to be able to, you know, pass something down to your following generations. You cannot pass a job down to another person. If you were a lawyer, you can't just be finished as a lawyer and just be like, hey, since I'm done, my son is about to turn 21, I'm about to just pass it on to him. You can't do that. And I want to be able to build something, hand it on over to my son or daughter, and they can do it and just keep doing. And that's how the rich think. There's rich people who do this over generations, over generations, and they're gonna continually do it. Their legacy is gonna keep building on, and that's how the richest stay in one sector, because they don't they don't give it up. They just pass it down and they keep building on it. That's how you become wealthy. Hope you enjoyed my story. I know it was a bit lengthy compared to most of my stories, but I hope you got to know me a little bit better. Be sure to go and subscribe, like the video, helps me out a lot. Go make your multiple streams of income. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.